Hey, welcome back to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. You people send me the weirdest things. Not you. I just mean other listeners to the James Show on WBAP. Like, when's the last time you saw a bum fight? My next guest, Dr. Matt Chalmers. Remember bum fights? When's the last time you saw a bum fight video?
I don't remember seeing one in a while.
Yeah, it's been like 20 years, maybe. I think that was a thing in like 2005. You didn't just find out about bum fights, did you? Anyway, let's not talk about that. That's not our subject here. You're a doctor, but I mean, you're more of a personal trainer by looking at you because you look like a little He-Man.
It's one of those things where, we got the hormones going. We got all the diet, nutrition. That's a massive part of health. So if you want to stay healthy, exercise, diet, hormones, that's a big piece of it.
Right. And you can cure diabetes.
Yeah, we can actually change the metabolic processes that creates diabetes, type 2 diabetes.
All right. So Dr. Matt Chalmers is not some guy that just hits your knee and checks your reflexes. A little more focus on health, wellness, nutrition, all that stuff. So you're an interesting guy. What do you think about the flu vaccine? We're being told by a lot of people it's time to get your flu vaccine. Dude, I never get my flu vaccine. What do you do?
The research on the flu vaccine is not very good. If it was one of those things where if you got the flu vaccine and you never got the flu, great. But that's not what we see in research. So I wouldn't recommend, it's not something that I recommend my patients get. I recommend my patients just make themselves healthier. And that's the best way to fend off any illness. All
right. So you're one of those guys. I am too. How come we don't have a consensus? I mean, we're all looking at the same data sets. How are some doctors insistent that you get the flu vaccine and others sound like us?
It's one of those things that every doc has his own kind of personal tweak on how they want to do things and how they want to proceed. Some guys read different research. Some guys don't read research at all. It just depends on what their pharmacist reps tell them. But it just kind of depends on, where everybody sees the best path for their patient's health.
All right. So where do you stand on vaccines as a whole?
The research that's on the vaccines is actually pretty bad. They have research on the Hep B vaccine that shows that they did 100 people, and they showed that in the 5 days that they tested this, no one died. And so it must be totally fine and everybody should take it. And that type of research, I think, is a rule that is very, very lacking. I haven't read any research on pretty much any of the vaccines that makes me think this is definitely a thing we should use. The problem is that there's too many unanswered questions because the research has not been done. And so that's the big thing personally for me. And that's what RFK is pushing for. He's demanding that the research actually be done so we know if these things, how safe and how effective these things actually are.
Well, some people like to use other remedies during cold and flu season. Echinacea, your thoughts on that?
Echinacea is fine. It's one of those things that helps kind of build up the immune system. It's not something I would use if you get sick. Taking it, just to stay healthy is great, but not something I would lean on if you were already sick.
What about people who pile in vitamin C? Because I saw an article I was reading this weekend that says if you take it orally, you're wasting your time. You got to take it intravenously. And then I saw a comment under that. It's like both of you people are idiots. So where do you stand?
Oral vitamin C is fine as long as you get good, clean product, supplementation, you're good. Now, IV vitamin C is fantastic for you, but not a whole lot of people are going to be injecting into their veins vitamin C on a regular basis.
Well, I could maybe mix it in with my black tar heroin.
Hey, Plano is great for a lot of things. So, if that's the way you play, that's the way you play.
Look at him rolling with the punches. So tell me about intravenous vitamin C. I don't know anyone who's done that.
We've done it for several of our cancer patients. High dose vitamin C. It kind of helps break up a lot of the stuff and move. It helps oxygenate the blood. It helps kind of get everything functional. Vitamin C is one of those cofactors your body uses to a lot of different metabolic functions that the immune system uses to kill bugs, move things around, and clean up the body.
Mel Gibson was on the Joe Rogan podcast last Thursday. He said he had 3 friends with stage 4 cancer. All 3 of them don't have any problems now. And they were taking one drug we've all heard of, ivermectin. The other one was like fembizidol, or I didn't know that one. Did you get a chance to see that, or do you know what I'm talking about without seeing it?
I saw a clip of it, but I'm very familiar with that protocol. Fembinazole there's actually research.
Wait, I'm sorry to interrupt. Say it again.
Fembinazole.
Okay, because I've only read it. I guess I heard them talking about it, but they don't know.
Well, we call it Finben, so if that makes it easier for you.
Finben, okay.
Yeah, so there's research showing that breaks up what's called the microtubule formation of cancer, and so it radically slows down the body's ability to create cancer. So if we can slow down the creation of cancer, our body can fight it faster, and so theoretically we can kill it easier. And the research on it's actually pretty decent. It's pretty good.
So why isn't this more widespread? Why am I hearing about this from Mel Gibson?
The problem is that there's a couple of different issues. One, there's a lot of medications that are out there. And so, trying to figure out which ones are best is kind of difficult. But the other thing is that what happens a lot in medicine is that from the FDA, from the NIH and the CDC, they create what's called the standard of care. So they're like, this is how we're going to treat this.
Would you call that definitive care?
The standard of care.
Oh, standard of care. I'm sorry, you just said it kind of fast.
Yeah, sorry. So if you step outside of the approved standard of care, you can get sued, you can get in trouble for it. So doctors usually don't step outside the standard of care. And so a lot of guys are starting to, a lot of docs, a lot of people who are just out researching on their own are starting to find out about these medications. And some of these are veterinary medications. And they're starting to take them and getting really, really good results because they're reading the research and using them the way the research dictated, not the way that the FDA and the NIH has decided we're going to treat things.
So what if someone says, man, I've got cancer issues. Can Chalmers help them with that?
Depends on the cancer. Absolutely. We've done lots of work with people to help bolster the immune system and clean some of this stuff out. There's a couple like leukemia is one of the ones I have a lot of trouble with. Some of the blood cancers we do a little bit better with. But if you guys are looking for that protocol, we can get doctors we work with that use it. So we can put that together.
What an interesting practice you have. I feel like the guys in Office Space where I'm like, Dr. Matt, what would you say you do here?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because a lot of this stuff, this is what happens when you spend 15 years reading medical research for a couple hours every day. But the thing is that what I found is that whatever my patients need, I'm going to find a place to send them. So, for instance, if we're looking for the very best in cardiovascular scans, UT Diagnostics does something called the Clearly, and it's a CT angiogram where we're looking inside your blood vessels with AI technology and dye, and it can tell us if you have any plaquing in the arteries at all. It's a phenomenal study, and we send people out for it. They get that study. We come back. We go, oh, hey, here's where you are. If you have plaquing, here's the next step. We're going to either get you over to one of our cardiovascular surgeons, get a stent, or we're going to do this dietary change or whatever we're going to do. But it's one of those things where if we will look at all the options we have for our patients, there's a lot of other options we can do to get people a lot healthier.
Well, you gave me a lot to think about. I wasn't going to get a flu vaccine anyway, but I'm thinking about booting some vitamin C, see how that helps with the old training regimen. Dr. Matt Chalmers, chalmerswellness.com. Thank you for your time on the James Show.
Anytime, man.
All right, chalmerswellness.com is the website. I'm saying it's CHALMERS. See, we don't have regular doctors on here. We have the doctors that will give you the straight skinny, not telling you to take every vaccine under the sun, not telling you to take every medicine under the sun, not telling you every time you get sniffles or something, you got to go under the knife, claiming to cure cancer and diabetes and look pretty buff while he's doing it. Coming up next, this is a weird story. It's a Texas teacher again. This one was arrested because he was watching, videos he's not supposed to be watching at school. But I was thinking, wait a second, does that mean it's only legal to show obscenities to children in Texas schools if you're a librarian? Is that what that means? We'll talk about that next on The James Show, 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. This is starting to happen so often, I don't even do all the stories anymore, only if it has like an interesting angle on it. And that's the phenomenon of teachers getting with students or doing inappropriate things around students. Or, man, we just didn't, I don't know, we didn't have the perverted teachers growing up, did we? Or did we just not all hear about every single one of them because we didn't have social media? Kind of a chicken and egg thing. But in this one, this is a Texas teacher. It's in the Houston area. Klein. Again, this is not I think this is like the third story in the last year we've had from Klein ISD. But, it's Houston. It's a big place. Why am I telling you about this one? Well, let me give you the situation around it. It's a substitute teacher at Klein Oak High School. Been arrested, charged with a crime, displaying harmful material to a minor, according to court documents. And I got this report from TexasScorecard.com. And I believe we're going to have Texas Scorecard on as one of our guests tomorrow. Let's go a little more in depth on this and a couple of other stories that they've got for you. But in this one, what did he do? Display harmful material to a minor? What did he, show a kid his Playboy? No, I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. No, he was watching pornography on his computer while sitting at his desk in the front of the classroom. Now, we can't, assume that all the kids saw it, but at some point, some kid goes up to the desk, sneaks his phone around and takes a video of it. So you can see a video depicting individuals engaged in, some activities that are not supposed to be in a classroom, but I guess it's okay if it's in the library. Sorry, my voice cracked. Library? I was trying to do it really high, but I was screaming a bunch this weekend. It's ruined the joke. But you get the point here. Hang on a second. So if we have a book in the library that's teaching kids the same type of stuff that they just saw on the TV in the substitute's desktop, how is one illegal? Not just illegal like, oh, you're fired, but a crime. They slapped cuffs on him. He's charged. He's got to go to court. How come it's not okay for him to do it, but it's okay for that to be in the library? Answer me that. I know that you don't have an answer for that. Or if you do, call in. I'd love to hear the mental gymnastics you're about to float around here. Look like Cirque du Soleil. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. All right, let me ruin the whole story for you. The substitute teacher, 81 years old. Ew. Why are you still working, sir? 81 years old. Substitute teacher. Oh no. And I could just hear your mind going to the second step and the third step and the fourth step. And if you don't know, then let me demonstrate how the rest of the critical thinkers just digested that information. All right. So your sub is 81 years old. We can go ahead and assume this probably isn't the first perverted thing he's done. Oh no. That's terrible. And you can also assume 81 years. How long has he been a teacher? Oh, no. He's been around your kids for 81. He could have a 60-year career being a pervo in front of your kids. This is one of the most prolific, unpunished pervos since Bill Cosby. Wait, is he still alive? Okay, so he's still alive. Thank you, Garrett. Garrett's my amateur Bill Cosby biographer. Well done. Real prestigious job there. But, okay, this is where the Texas Scorecard, they've got to look this up. They have questions. You have questions. And it's unlike they do in some of the newspapers around here and even some of the TV stations, when the reporter at Texas Scorecard gets a question in their head, they got to answer it. So they do. So first, in 2024, 3 different Klein ISD teachers were arrested for sex crimes involving students or other children. So yes, your suspicion was correct if you've heard the word Klein a lot. And he does have a teaching certification through the state of Texas. His first teaching certification issued here in Texas in 1966. Oh my God, this is just getting worse and worse. This guy has just been purring up and down the hallways of Texas schools for now 59 years. 1966. We hadn't even landed on the moon, and this guy's been doing inappropriates. They've been a pervo around your kids. Thank God they didn't have the internet when this guy got started, or he probably would have got busted a long time ago. So I don't know. Maybe I should just start a new segment on the show saying, here's today's excuse to homeschool your kids. All right. Coming up next on The James Show, we'll get back to the news here. 800-288-9227. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Well, hey there, all you beautiful Texans. Welcome back to The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Let's go. Well, my next guest is someone who, when she disagrees with me, has no problem telling me that I'm wrong. Kate Lincoln Goldfinch is back on. She's an immigration attorney, which is why I respect her opinion and want to talk to her about this new Senate bill that just passed. And when they say Senate bill, I don't know, does that mean it's officially law yet? But the Laken Riley Act, what do we need to know about that? How does that change the lay of the land for immigrants, both legal and illegal? Kate, welcome back. All right. So what do we need to know about the Laken Riley Act? What does this change?
Well, as I understand, it's a proposed bill right now. And the way that it would function is that it would immediately require undocumented immigrants who are charged with any type of theft offense, to include, shoplifting and petty larceny, to be taken into detention and not allowed to be released.
What's the law?
Detention.
What's the law currently?
It's different in different jurisdictions, and it's based on prosecutorial enforcement priorities. So, for example, if someone is a priority and they have a crime that's in a list of violent crimes, or they're suspected of connections to gang activities, et cetera, then they are taken in. And if they're not, then they're allowed to be released. And, their criminal sentence or their criminal consequences are separate from immigration consequences.
Is it constitutional for the federal government to sort of supersede state law like that? Even though I agree with the aim of the bill, I'm not sure if I like the procedure.
Well, what this act does, as I understand it, is it would guide immigration detention questions. So if someone is an immigrant and they're charged with a crime, then immigration is required to keep them in custody. So it's not, state law oversees state crimes, of course, and federal law oversees immigration detention questions. So I don't actually see a constitutional issue here. I do think that it is the wrong focus. I mean, based on some of the conversations you and I have had in the past, I think that, of course, violence against women and girls ought to be a focus of law enforcement. We should not tolerate it. And if we look, if we have distractions like this where we say, okay, now every single person who is caught, shoplifting and who is an immigrant goes into detention, that doesn't actually solve the problem of violence against women and girls. It's a distraction. And so I would ask Congress and law enforcement to focus on what matters, and I don't think that this solves the problem at hand.
What about this new power it gives the states to sue the Department of Homeland Security if they don't like the way that immigration law is being enforced?
Oh, that's an interesting question, and I don't know the constitutionality around that or what this, the current level is. I don't think that Congress could pass a law saying, changing when states can sue the federal government. To me, that would be controlled by the Constitution and ultimately handled by the judicial branch. Confusion about that would be handled by the judicial branch. But that's something I'd have to look into to sort of comment on more, further.
All right. So if this does clear both the House and the Senate, is this something Joe Biden would even sign? He only has like 6 days left.
Yeah. The law going through Congress would take longer than Biden has left in office. So presumably this would go before Trump. And obviously it's probably something he would sign.
All right. Anything else about this bill that you're keeping an eye on you think we'd be interested in?
No, like I said, I think that this is a distraction. We've talked about this before, that, immigrants commit crimes at a much lower rate than native-born U.S. citizens. And so if we really want to focus on, the safety of women and children, a law like this is not actually going to hit at the problem. And so I wish that Congress would focus on other things, but I wouldn't be surprised if this one made it all the way through, actually.
All right, Kate Lincoln Goldfinch, how do they find your work outside of WBAP?
Like the president, Goldfinch like the bird.
Lincoln Goldfinch Law. Thank you very much, Kate. All right, I'll keep an eye on that, because if the Laken Riley Act passes through the Senate and gets signed into law, you'll probably hear about it first here on WBAP. I can't say the James Show because I don't know what time you'll be listening, but I just wanted to get you updated on that. Coming up next, we got to get into this story in Fort Worth. It's an update from our friends at the Dallas Express. They first brought it to your attention about a month or so ago. There's an exhibit at an art museum in Fort Worth, and it includes pictures of kids who are nude. And I don't know, it's just a touchy subject because I get it. All childhood nudity isn't sexual in nature. Seeing a baby's butt in a Pampers commercial isn't sexual in nature. When your mom took a picture of you covered in bubbles in the kitchen sink, that's not sexual in nature. But this is an LGBT themed exhibit. And so if we're focused on the sexual proclivities of the people involved in the exhibit, doesn't that necessarily make it, titillating, not cool anymore, child porn, dare I say? So some details coming up about that. I'll talk to you, and we'll hear from Dallas Express on the story after I give you the details. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. If y'all don't stop sending me weird stuff, I'm going to stop checking my messages on the breaks. Someone sent me a really cool video of a undercover cop that was going into a vape store to try and ask him to sell him some illegal stuff, and the guy was relenting. And then another undercover cop walks in at the same time pretending to be his friend. Oh, yeah, we work together. We do construction, building homes over in the subdivision. And they're really awkward about it. And they're not, apparently they weren't theater kids because they're terrible actors. And it's the most awkward thing. And why are you sending me this? We have real news going on. I don't need to see two of the least thespianic undercover cops trying to bust a vape shop. Hilarious stuff. Thank you. Also, I've been getting a little bit of feedback. I was actually answering legit questions about what's coming up January 28th. It's no big deal. It's not like an official station event or anything, but the James Show's been around for a year now. So we're going to have a little birthday party for the James Show. At least the James Show on WBAP turns 1 this month. So we're going to be... for those of you asking for a meetup in Tarrant County, I found one perfect place. It's in the middle of Tarrant County. Shaw's Patio. It's on Magnolia, just outside, just south of downtown Fort Worth. So all you people who are saying, well, I'm in Saginaw, or I'm Watauga, or I'm in Keller, or I'm in Mineral Wells, or I'm in Stephenville or Aledo or wherever you people are from. No excuses now. I need to see some Burleson people there. Maybe an Ovilla person there. Who knows? But that's where it's happening. Shaw's. Now, I just want to say this. I'm going to say this 1,000 times, and you're still going to do it. Not you, but someone's still going to do it. Listen to me. Listen. Please. No presents. Okay? None. It's awkward. I didn't get you anything. You want to get me something? Don't. Even if you think I like it, don't. Because really, I don't mind getting presents. It's just awkward and uncomfortable for me. So it might be fun for you. But we're not doing this for you, are we? We're doing this for me. I have made a Facebook event. I've shared it out on the James Parker Facebook page and Shaw's, obviously. I'll be sharing it out or sharing it through the WBAP Facebook page. So if you want a reminder, go find the event and click going or interested, and Facebook will remind you. Also, do me a big favor and share it out. I only have a couple of weeks to get the word out. And since this isn't an official station event, Shaw's didn't pay for this. They're just opening up their event space to me for free. We're not going to be running promos outside of the show for this, and I'm pretty limited in how I can promote it. So I need your help. So I don't just want to see you there. I want to see you there with a friend and this other person that you know loves WBAP. Have them come out to Shaw's. What time? I don't know. I'm going to get off work. I'm going to go put up the podcast, probably change shirts, and then I'll drive to Shaw's. So depending on how bad traffic is, 7:30. Till when? I don't know. Until I feel like leaving. Till enough for the crowd. Because when we did this last month at Richardson Bar and Grill, I was there till about 10:30, 11 when people finally started filtering out, and it was just me and a handful of people playing pool. So that's what we're doing. It's a Tuesday. It's not going to be a knockdown drag out. This isn't going to be a rager. It's going to be a few people meeting each other. Not just me, meeting each other, saying hi, and just having a good time on a Tuesday. So January 28th in the evening, Shaw's Patio, Fort Worth. Thank you, Shaw's. I look forward to it because they're actually James Show listeners, and that makes them awesome. If you need a ride from Stephenville, Adrian said you can ride with her. She you just opening yourself up to being a de facto Uber Black. That's fine. Mike asks, can I buy you a drink? Whew. That answer's yes. Now, I can't promise you anything, Mike, but you're certainly welcome to buy me a drink. And getting a drink's only weird if it's from a girl. I've gotten used to, like, your friends, I'll get this round or whatnot. And even when I hang out, or it's been a long time, but when I used to have gay friends that I'd hang out with in the neighborhood, like going to the roundup or whatever, you know how cool that is for a straight guy to get a drink from a gay fella? And you can tell them, it's like, hey, I'm like straight and married. So, I mean, this drink isn't getting you anywhere, but, I could use some good conversation. They're usually pretty cool about it. And you're like, hey, is this what it feels like to be cute? Does that mean I'm cute to somebody? It's kind of awesome. So, yeah, Mike, you can buy me a drink. But don't let everybody think you can be buying me a drink. I will have a designated driver, but I don't want to embarrass myself or throw up at Shaw's. So any other questions, you can leave them on the videos that we're streaming right now. You can send me a Facebook message, Facebook Messenger. My email, james@wbap.com, james@wbap.com. Also, I wanted to go over some of these great emails I'd gotten on the California fires. Dylan had an interesting one that I didn't think of. For those of you who weren't listening earlier, Texas is sending a bunch of fire crews to California, and I was sort of disappointed that that's going to be the cost for that. At least it's not going to be borne by the Texas taxpayers directly. It's going to be borne by the federal government, so the taxpayers of the United States as a whole are going to be on the hook for California's mistakes. And I was saying we should send California the bill with like a 20% gratuity. But Dylan, I like his idea. He says they should have to pay Texas in land. And we could expand Texas wine country. Oh, my goodness. Why not think of that? They don't want those red counties anyway. You know, there's giant, deep red chunks of California that they probably would give us. They'd probably be excited to trade that off. Dylan, I like the way you think. That's fantastic. And then Russell... he shares an email. He sent it to james@wbap.com, which I don't know if I believe this, but I've heard a lot of people say this, and I'm not dismissive of it. I just don't think this is the most likely scenario. He says, if this is not some sort of intentional damage to burn LA down in order to build it back, in Newsom's words, 2.0, with, I guess, all the high-tech, fancy electric battery-operated stuff, then the other possibility, this is the Kansas City shuffle meant to deter the country's attention where everybody's looking left and they should have been looking right. And all the drones over on the other side of the country are doing their surveillance. All hell could possibly breaking loose soon. Okay. Two things there. The idea that they would let it burn down in order to build it back. Maybe. I don't think it's the likely scenario because they have to look so incompetent in the process. But I did hear that theory when, Kenai, Lauai, whatever the Hawaiian island that burnt up was. And the other part of that is this is just a distraction from the drones. Well, you know what? The drone situation is starting to sound even weirder because as we're running up into the inauguration day, that's some weird context when you put it together. Because Bongino was talking about that in the first hour of the show today on WBAP. See, I'm a fan of the station. Some people who are having the meetings, whether it's the Secret Service or other security detail around the president, around the inauguration, he's worked inaugurations. He knows these people. They're talking to him. One thing that they're concerned about is what if a drone swarm comes at Trump on inauguration day? Are they ready to defend him? How could they defend him? I mean, imagine, are they getting surveillance? Are they just testing things out? Were they poking the bear to see what they could get away with as far as a swarm of drones come? Because if a swarm of 100 drones just comes flying over the National Mall while Trump's giving his inauguration speech, does the Secret Service, does the American defense apparatus have the ability to fight that off? Could they keep Trump safe? You get a little suicide drone with a little explosive on it, and only one of them has to make it to Trump. Can we stop it? What are we going to do? What are you going to just shoot it with shotguns? I mean, that's not going to work. Even if you had some great duck hunt level marksmen, those bullets got to come down somewhere, and it only takes one drone to get through. So, and I don't have a good answer for that. So if it would stink if something like that's going on and we are spending this much time and political capital and attention on these fires, is it deliberate? I don't know. And then I had another great email from Romero who, while I was talking to Chalmers, I wish I would have seen this in time. I would have asked him. He said, is the shingles vaccine okay to get? Okay, next time I have the doctor back on, whether it's Chalmers or Dr. Brian Artis, they're both of the same mind when it comes to vaccines. Make sure I ask them because actually I would like to know the answer to that question. Thank you, Romero. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about the Fort Worth Museum exhibit with pictures of naked children in it. And yeah, does that count as obscene material or is that just art? Well, it's been taken down. So updates on that from our friends at the Dallas Express, Chris Putnam, coming up on WBAP. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. I have a story that I'm the only person that I've heard on the radio talk about this, and I haven't seen it on TV either. I've only seen it in the Dallas Express. Maybe I just missed it. I don't see every episode of every newscast around here, and I don't listen to all the radio stations at the same time, so maybe I just missed it. But the Dallas Express didn't miss it. It's a situation going on in this museum in Fort Worth where it's an LGBT themed exhibit, but it also includes images of children who are not fully clothed. And so, look, there's artistic license. You know, if you see a naked angel on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, that's not child pornography. When your mom took pictures of you covered in bubble bath in the kitchen sink when you were one, that's not child pornography. But Chris Putnam from the Dallas Express, I don't understand how you can include pictures with naked children in an LGBT themed exhibit and have it divorced from sexual content.
It's a little bit difficult to understand, James. And I'm sure you've heard the news since, we first reported this story. County Judge Tim O'Hare came out and was, very critical of the exhibit once he saw some of these images and understood, what was being displayed. I mean, these are pictures of the artists, photographs, of the quote unquote artists, naked children. And even the far left New York Times did a story on this exhibit at one time, characterizing it as highly disturbing and saying that a federal prosecutor had explained to them at one point that, this person could be prosecuted for displaying these images in public.
I did not see that the New York Times had written it up, but I did see y'all's update here because we talked about this, a week or two ago? And so they have removed the pictures from the exhibit. But no one's been charged with a crime or had handcuffs slapped on or anything. So I feel like we're in this weird gray area. Where is this going, Chris?
Well, we reported that the Fort Worth Police Department actually executed a warrant, and they have secured a number of the images, and it's under active investigation. And that's what we know right now. Okay,
so they're not in the clear. There may be charges yet to come.
Could be, yeah. Again, we looked for an update today from Fort Worth PD, and there was no new information. But I don't believe that the museum voluntarily took down the exhibit. That a warrant was executed, and the images were secured by Fort Worth PD.
Have we heard a response from the artist responsible for the exhibit?
Not that I'm aware of. So your audience knows this exhibit has traveled around actually for a number of years, and I think is, a couple of decades now. And there's been a lot of concern about it, just about wherever it goes. And it seems like some of these institutions, these art institutions, literally bring this exhibit around in order to provoke controversy.
Well, here locally, we have you guys report that KERA, the NPR affiliate around here, was actually defending the photographs of nude children as a First Amendment issue.
Well, actually, so you had mentioned that the story hadn't appeared anywhere, and it's very much like a lot of the stories that we do. The legacy media is slow to catch up, and when they do, it's if we say it's white, they say it's black, and if we say it's black, they say it's white type of thing. And universally, the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, who, as you probably know, is owned by a New Jersey hedge fund who purchased it out of bankruptcy from a bankrupt California company, defended it on a First Amendment basis. as did the Fort Worth report, as well as KERA.
Do we have a precedent for this?
Not that I'm aware.
Okay. Well, I guess you guys are just going to keep an eye on it and let us know when something else happens?
Yeah, we're just waiting to understand what the result of the investigation is at this point.
All right. Well, I appreciate your good work on this. I mean, what are some of the other hot stories that you guys have uncovered in the last week or so that the rest of the media hadn't touched?
Just real quickly, James, the Danbury Institute, if you're familiar with them, they actually wrote a letter to the museum and expressing their concern and noted that, the display itself acknowledges that, it's highly questionable material. And so it's just kind of shocking that it describes it literally as showcasing children naked, moody, and in suggestive situations. That's what their own museum plaque says, and that it evokes an edgy, dark side of childhood. And as you noted in the previous segment, look, this isn't – because I agree with you, of course. We all have, naked photographs of our children. I don't display mine in a museum. Of course, we have, Joe Biden taking showers with his daughter at kind of weird ages and things like that. But look, we're living in a different time now. As the report that you gave on what's been going on in our public school suggests, we're actually, to segue into your question, we're working on a series right now that actually shows the scope of the pedo problem in the Texas public school system. And it's, we hear a lot of these stories on a one-off basis. And as you also mentioned, they've almost become routine. But I don't think anybody's ever looked at the problem holistically and just how big it is. So we've got an upcoming series on that by one of our outstanding writers who's a local Tarrant County guy, Kellen McGovern-Jones.
Well, y'all have also addressed some of the complaints about the art being taken down. The National Coalition Against Censorship condemned the removal of the photos, and then the Dallas Express went and dug into this group, and it turns out they have a nice history of defending artwork that's of sexual nature aimed at children. Yeah, and increasingly we see this from kind of these far lefty organizations that defend the right to display these these types of images as a First Amendment right. And believe me, nobody's a bigger defender of the First Amendment than I am. But it's just hard to suggest that this is anything other than straight up kiddie porn in an art museum. Well, I appreciate you guys getting this story out there. DallasExpress.com is super important for it's now one of the essential sites I go to in my content rotation. Yeah, we really appreciate that, of course. Thank you very much. Chris Putnam, DallasExpress.com. We'll keep an eye on these people. That is not a comfortable story to talk about. If you have any comments, 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. So the Fort Worth police removed the pictures of naked children from the art exhibit. Is that censorship or justified? I think we may see some charges pretty soon. 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Bob Lavelle here from Home Marketing Services. And if you're the person who is either trying to get into that first house or make the upgrade to your dream house, you better give Bob a call. Bob Lavelle, some people don't think of this time as a hot time to buy real estate, but both times I've bought a house, it was around this time of the year, and I managed to get some good deals.
When we spoke yesterday, James, I was actually showing a house that we've had it on the market for 3 days. And in 3 days, we ended up getting 6 cash offers, all cash. All of them were at least $100,000 over asking price, which is nice to get that. So I thought about that after we hung up yesterday. You have a lot of people out there, listeners, that maybe have a house that they need to sell, and they need to sell that house, and want somebody that can do it fast and get a good price. They might try giving us a call on that too. It's a interesting market. This house sold for north of $2 million. It took less than 3 days to do it, and we had a bunch of offers to pick from.
See, that's amazing because, sometimes it's hard to find the buyers, sometimes it's hard to find the sellers, but you're the guy who connects them.
We do. And, one thing I have to say, we kind of screwed up on in the beginning when we first started this like 30 years ago. All we were doing were brand new homes. And I didn't want to work with the pre-owned. It was a lot easier to have that new car smell on a house. And then we started getting clients that bought 5-10 years earlier that wanted to upsize or downsize. And that's when we started getting into it more. Now, a good part of our business is finding the pre-owned too. But when people have a really nice home to sell, having somebody that can get the job done quickly and get you the best, good price for the dollar, that's kind of key.
All right, you want to find your perfect home somewhere in the DFW Metroplex? Call Bob Lavelle, 972-392-9595. That's 972-392-9595. You can go to blessyourheart.com or 972-392-9595. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, James. Have a good one.
Hey there, welcome to the James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Keeping up with what's going on at art museums. Shouldn't be a controversial subject, but I guess sometimes it is. Your thoughts, 800-288-9227. We were talking about art museum in Fort Worth. They had an LGBT exhibit that included pictures of naked children, and I didn't look at the picture, so I can't say with any sort of certainty. I just don't want to. If it was the wrong kind of pictures, I don't want that stuff on my computer. I don't want to be accused of anything. I don't want any kind of trace. I don't need to see that anyway. But apparently it was so bad that judge reviewed it, sent in cops to take the pictures down. They're reviewing charges. 800-288-9227. Brendan and Rowlett, you're on WBAP. What do you think, sir?
Good day, sir. Yeah, we've heard all the comparisons before in the past about the story time for children at school libraries. Why aren't they doing that at senior citizens' homes instead? Okay. Now, the same thing you said for this story. Instead of having pictures of children, why don't they have pictures of elderly people naked instead? That's all you need to hear about that situation.
I think they do. I think they actually have different naked pictures of people in different phases of life. And I think that's one of the ways they stick it in there is they'll say, this isn't featuring children. This is featuring people of all ages. But no, your criticism is very loud and well heard. The problem that a lot of people have with drag time story hour or drag shows for kiddos or drag time brunch or whatever isn't that kids are exposed to trans as much as why are these people so interested in having an audience full of kids?
Yeah, I agree. And I didn't know. I'm enlightened. And thank you for pointing that out. I have no interest in even looking into what was there because of the subject matter. So I just stayed away from it. So I did not know.
Yeah, me neither. Yeah, and thank you very much, Brendan and Rowlett. One thing I've learned, Miss Parker is an artist. And she went to arts magnet school for high school. And then she has an art degree. And she's an artist now. She's the artist for a big corporation. Does like all their billboards and crap. So I am well steeped in the art world, and boy, is it just flaming bags of dog poo everywhere. It is so trash. Like Jackson Pollock, trash. Any of that splatter paint stuff, trash. I remember going to like the Bass Museum in Fort Worth, and they had this giant piece where this artist rode his bicycle in paint and then rode the bicycle over the canvas, and it made all kinds of bicycle tire streaks. I was like, that's not art. That's trash. Some guy ruined a canvas and y'all are pretending like it's art, and it's not. There's nothing beautiful about it. There's nothing special about it. There's nothing skilled about it. There's nothing unprecedented about it. If I had done that, my dad would have whipped my ass for spilling all the paint in the garage. It's not art. And then they mix in the kids with it, and it's so creepy. It really does feel like the Emperor Has No Clothes. When you see a bunch of people at like an art showing and they're looking at this painting on the wall and it's just splatter paint. Some guy literally just flicked his brush all over the canvas. And I mean, I guess it's an interesting color palette, but it looks like a 4-year-old could have done it. And then I see people who make like 10 times as much money than me sitting around drinking with their pinky out going, I like that one. That's brilliant work of art. No, it's not. It's splatter paint. I think I did that to a Spuds McKenzie shirt at Vacation Bible School when I was 11. Remember when we used to do the splatter paint with the puffy paint? Yeah, I had one of those, and I don't know. I had like a Godzilla shirt. Or no, it was an OP shirt. It just had something that looked like a Godzilla on it. That's the level of art you did. Vacation Bible School for 11-year-olds can do that. Thank you very much. We'll keep an eye on these weirdos for you, though. A couple of updates. Number one, we're having the James Show birthday party. It's just a listener meet and greet, meet up. Shaw's Patio in Fort Worth. It's going to be January 28th. I'm going to be at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo live to do the James Show from one of the booths in the exhibit hall this Friday and January 31st. So if you're already going to be out there, don't be a jerk. Stop by and say hi. And if you were thinking about going, maybe you can work your schedule around being able to be there from 2 to 5 when I'll be live on the air. And you can walk by and you can judge me on my appearance. Isn't that fun? You'd be like, man, you really do have a big head. I know, it's like a pumpkin up here. It looks like a globe. All right, thank you very much for hanging out with the James Show today. If you need more James Show action, go get the podcast. I'm about to go chop it up and put it up right now. Stay put. Mark Levin's coming up next. I'm James Parker. This has been the James Show on News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.